The faculty member has a number of different factors to consider when choosing between the entities. The common factors that will drive the decision to the limited liability company and the corporation are the financing that the faculty is going to be receiving and a number of other tax and non-tax factors. Another factor to consider is the financing that the faculty member is going to receive. For a faculty who's consulting, the financing likely is going to come from him or herself, as we discussed earlier. But the faculty member needs to know if he or she is receiving outside financing from a corporate investor or another type of investor. They need to understand what their requirements are of the particular type of business entity that's formed. So one of the factors the faculty member should consider is who the owners are of the company. Typically, the faculty is consulting on his or her own. But the faculty needs to understand that if he or she is not a United States citizen or isn't a resident alien, they wouldn't be able to set up an S corporation, for example. So really understanding who the owners are and how many owners there are is important to consider. If a faculty member wants to obtain a visa and they're not a U.S. citizen or a resident alien, the faculty member should talk to an immigration attorney to determine what they'll need to do to set up a business entity to allow them to be able to stay in the United States and legally operate their company. Another factor to consider is where will the consulting take place? Many people hear that it's important to form a company in Delaware or Nevada for tax purposes. But for a faculty who's consulting, they're most likely going to be providing their services in the particular state in which they're located. And it's even if they are providing services outside of that state, it will likely be most favorable for them to set up a business entity in the state in which they're located. Other factors include the ease of forming the business entity. A limited liability company is relatively easy to form by filing articles of organization with the state. It's also important for the faculty member to consider how will they actually administer that entity. They should think about whether they want to comply with the numerous formalities of a corporation, or would they like the more flexible management of a limited liability company. Another issue to consider is how will the profits from the company be distributed to the faculty member. Most likely the faculty who's consulting is going to be taking those profits from the individuals or the organizations that they're consulting with and will be paying themselves in the form of wages. If particular entities such as a limited liability company is set up, then any of the profits from that limited liability company would be subject to self-employment tax. Whereas if an S corporation is formed, the faculty member would be able to avoid paying a certain portion of self-employment tax by paying themselves in the form of a distribution and then wages. Another factor to consider is whether the faculty who's consulting is going to have employees or independent contractors who they'll need to provide stock options to. This is not likely to be the case with a faculty who's consulting, but something else that's important to consider.